I want you to think about the last time you've played a FNAF fan game that has introduced a mechanic you've never seen before. Maybe you think of Junior's deduction game mechanic. Maybe you think of Teelerland's upgrade system. Or maybe you dig really deep and think of One Night at Flumpty's 3 moving camera buttons. Whatever it may be, I'm sure you can agree that seeing a new mechanic is always interesting, and in my opinion is the most enjoyable part of playing FNAF games. I love exploring what people can come up with. Even if the new mechanics are frustrating, I still love them. The game we'll be covering today introduces a mechanic like nothing I've ever seen before. A game so obscure I'd never heard of it, and I'm willing to bet you've never heard of it either. The game we'll be covering today is After Hours at Cody's, a so far one-off FNAF fan game that introduces one of the most interesting game mechanics I've ever seen, while also telling one of the most gruesome and depraved stories I've ever witnessed. You're not going to want to miss what we have in store today, so let's dive into the world of After Hours at Cody's. Before each night, we get a small cutscene to show us a little bit of what we're getting into. In the Night 1 cutscene, we see a mysterious black figure cause one of the animatronics to awaken. And I'm not gonna lie, the animatronic that wakes up is a bit of a bad bitch, I'm not gonna lie to you. But with that, we do start Night 1. Night 1 obviously introduces one threat. But before we can start talking about that threat, we need to talk about the mechanic in this game that makes it so unique: the cameras. Taking a look at them, you'll notice that there's a long bar in the center of the map with one small section of it being red and a small rectangle quickly moving back and forth across it. If you haven't figured out what these cameras are about to do yet, then let me tell you. When you switch cameras, you will need to time the camera switch up with when the small moving rectangle is inside of the red bar. If you mistime it, then the camera you clicked on will load very slowly. And this is a very fast-paced game. If you time it properly, the camera will load almost instantly. This is such an interesting mechanic that I originally thought I was going to hate. But it's because of this mechanic that I've actually put After Hours at Cody's in my top 5 favorite FNAF fan games of all time. But the timing doesn't only relate to how fast your cameras load. If that was all it did, then this mechanic would be pretty lackluster overall. It also plays a much more integral role with a core mechanic of the game: the power. Your power drains pretty quickly in this game. However, there is a way to recharge it. And unlike in most FNAF games where you can recharge power, it's surprisingly not done by holding down a fucking button like a music box. Thank dick. This time around, it's also tied to the timing mechanic in the cameras. Every time you properly time a camera switch, a small battery multiplier will increase by 1 at the bottom of the camera. The higher that multiplier is, the more power will increase, with a maximum multiplier of 30. However, if you don't properly time a switch fast enough, then the multiplier will start to quickly decrease. So constantly switching cameras is a must. I think this is easily one of the most unique mechanics I've ever seen. It adds a level of skill that most other FNAF games just don't have. Most FNAF games' skill ceilings are marked by your reflexes. This one is marked by your rhythm, and I think that's awesome. But anyways, onto the threat this night introduces: Bad Bitch Bella. Or as this game calls her, Bella the Beaver. I think my name is a little bit better though, personally. Bad Bitch Bella has a very simple motive: walk to your office, put a collar on you, and walk you like a dog. You guys can feel free to defend yourself from her, which I will explain how to do in a moment, but I for one will already be on my hands and knees by the time she enters the office. She will try to enter your office through camera 5 or your right door. In camera 5, she'll have 2 stages. One where she's far away from the camera, and another where she's much closer. Once she moves to her second phase, you will have to use your camera's alarm system, which, lucky us, is also tied to the timing mechanic. When you press the alarm button, if you don't time it with the red bar, the audio will not play and you'll have to wait for your alarm to charge back up. When you use the alarm on Bad Bitch Bella, she will look at the camera. When she does, all you have to do is close your door, and eventually she will go back to the stage. If you don't use the alarm on her, she will pound on your door and drain a lot of power before leaving, and then Operation Walk You Like a Dog will be set in motion. Very easy character to explain two very important mechanics in this game. I think After Hours at Cody's Night 1 is a great example of properly introducing your game's core mechanics in a way that isn't confusing or overwhelming. Plus, you made the character really hot for no reason at all. This is a children's establishment. Why are the characters hot? That's something I'll never be able to wrap my head around. Now, how do we actually complete the night? Surviving until 6 a.m., Dexter? You fucking retard? Whoa. Hey now. The people in my comments don't like it when you say that word. Do better, retard. Anyways, no. Surviving until 6 a.m. is not how you complete a night in this game. After Hours at Cody's opts to use a task-based completion system. Now everyone hold your breath, because this could either make or break this game depending on how shitty the tasks are. You can exhale. It's okay. The task is mundane. However, it plays into the game's core mechanic, so it actually makes for a very satisfying gameplay loop. Remember that black figure that brought the bad bitch back to life? Well, that character is known in this game as the Anomaly. And judging by that name alone, I'm willing to bet you can guess what this guy is going to do and what the task system in this game is. The Anomaly has a random chance to appear on any of the cameras in your game at any time. If at any point you find him, you will have to use your alarm on the camera that he's on. When you do, your Anomaly counter will go up. After you find him 10 times, the night will be over. You do have to note that he will not always be on a camera, and if you don't find him fast enough when he appears, he will not stay on a camera forever and will eventually leave. Again, overall this mechanic is pretty boring, but because of how well it ties into the timing mechanic, it serves as one of the most enjoyable FNAF experiences I've ever had. But now on to night 2, except I lied because we actually have a cutscene to talk about first.
My dear friends, the worst has come to pass. As many of you may already know, my brother, Darren, has not been found since his disappearance earlier this year. He meant the world to me, as I'm sure he did to plenty of you too. His astounding creativity and infallible craftsmanship became the source of so many wonderful memories for children all across the country. These moments we shared will remain evergreen to me for as long as I live. Before I continue though, I'd like to show you this. A child at Cody's gave this to me once when I was visiting the restaurant. Wonderful, isn't it? This creativity we inspire. As it pains me to say, I do understand the suspicion people may have had toward me in the months following my brother's disappearance. But please, I urge you all to understand how these events have weighed heavy on me. He was my family too. The threats I've received since then caused me to think about my place in all this. I know I may not have been the most communicative or involved between the two of us, but I still did hold so much love for the work we did together. All this is to say that I will be stepping down as proprietor of Cody & Co. I've had a long and fulfilling career, and I only hope that the kindness I've shown will continue to reflect on the company as I look forward to finding someone new to handle the reins. But until then, I hope only to leave this company in a better state than it currently remains. If my being a part of this only serves to obstruct the joy and wonder that my brother and I wish to impart, then perhaps it is best if I step down and let the magic live on without me. Thank you for everything. I genuinely had a wonderful time.
So, we have two brothers that started this company together, and one of them tragically died. Now, I'm no FNAF expert, Okay, maybe I am a little. I think we're all smart enough to know that the pain in this guy's voice is definitely a little bit sussy. I'm not pointing any fingers here, but if it comes out that his brother is the one who killed him, I would not be surprised in the slightest. Anyways, on to night 2. By the way, if you were curious as to how this game explains the anomaly, well, the phone guy blatantly tells us that we're ghost hunting. Everyone that works in this building knows about this thing and what it can do, and we were more so hired to remove it. If I signed up for a night watch job and got told that, I would walk out of that building before the poor bastard could even hang up. Night 2 introduces one new threat, Morris, who also introduces the last major mechanic this game has to talk about, the curtain behind you. I haven't actually mentioned it so far, but yes, you can turn around in your office to find a curtain. It vaguely reminds me of the curtain from Those Nights at Rachel's. However, this game isn't mind-numbingly boring like that one is. Morris will slowly creep out from behind the curtains throughout the night. Occasionally, you'll have to turn around and force him back. However, unlike most curtain mechanics like this, it isn't just pulling them closed or holding your light on it. After Hours at Cody's needs to get a little bit quirky. Introducing probably the most frustrating mechanic in the entire game. Next to the curtains, you'll see 4 buttons. Each button has a color. You might be thinking, Dexter, I'm looking at them and not a single one of them has a color. Well, you see, dear viewer, that's what I thought too. However, no, they do indeed have a color. You just can't see which color each button is until you press it, which I think is very stupid. Morris has 5 phases before jump scaring you. The first phase is the phase you'll mostly see him in. All you'll be able to see is his nose. This is the furthest back that he can be, so if he looks like this, you're all good. The next 4 phases each correspond to one of those buttons. So depending on how close he is to ganking you, you will have to select the correct colored button and then flash your light on him to make him go back to phase 1. What do the buttons mixed with the flashlight have to do with sending him back? I really have no idea. And in all honesty, I think this is easily the weakest part of the entire game. But that's not where my frustration with Morris ends. No, not at all. Believe it or not, turning around in your office can be a frustrating experience for literally no reason whatsoever. How, you might be asking? Well, I'd be more than happy to explain it to you. Let's say you're facing towards your doors. Bad bitch Bella is at your door, so for now, the door is closed. While this door is closed, apparently Beth, the name of our player, gets fucking glued to the goddamn ground and is unable to move an inch. Because if either one of your doors are closed, you will be unable to turn around to check on Morris. How does this make any sense at all? It literally fucking doesn't. And that's not all. It gets even more frustrating. Let's imagine you're facing Morris. You press a button and flash your light to send him back. Now it's time to turn around and start filling up our power in the camera again. But uh-oh, fucker! You forgot to press the button you already fucking pressed. Because if any of the buttons are currently toggled on, you can't turn around. Why? Who the fuck knows? I love this game a lot, but holy shit, this is one of the most retarded things I've ever seen. It doesn't make any sense at all. Well, whatever. It's frustrating. It's stupid, but I didn't let it ruin my experience with the rest of this amazing game. Speaking of, let's move on to the post-night 2 cutscene.
Greetings, employee, and welcome to part 3 of the Warren Tech Mascot Training Module. In this chapter, we'll be demonstrating how to safely wear and operate our patented Flex mascot suit. To begin the process, locate the 4 winding ports present on each of the character's limbs. Use your company-issued War Wrench to turn counterclockwise and disengage the mascot's enhanced performance mode. You should notice the eyes glow red from the activation of the light relay. This means that the mascot is ready to be worn. Simply be warned. Do not, by any circumstances, wear the mascot suit while it is still in its enhanced performance mode. Its specialized routines involve the full rotation and contortion of the extremities. Should you be caught in the suit during the performance of one of these routines, do not panic. If you can, tuck your legs and arms into the main torso and lower your head as far as possible.
Repeat the phrase.
Abort showtime routine. Jonah protocol in effect. Abort showtime routine. Jonah protocol in effect.
So it seems we've found After Hours at Cody's Springlock equivalent. And in all honesty, I think it's way more brutal than the Springlock suit could ever be. Imagine being locked inside of that clown suit, only for the arms and legs to start twisting, breaking your bones, ripping your tendons, and contorting your bodies in ways it was never supposed to bend. This is easily one of the most terrifying ideas I've ever seen in a FNAF game before, and I'm all for it. Night 3 introduces one new threat, Jack the Jackal. He acts as this game's Chica, being a borderline exact copy of Bad Bitch Bella, except she's a 10 and he's like a 4 at best on a good day. As I'm sure you could have expected, Jack does the exact same thing as Bella, except he attacks camera 6 and your left door instead of your right. The same system and rules apply to him. He has 2 phases on camera 6. Once he's in his second phase, use the alarm on him and close the door until he leaves. Simple sugar. We've dealt with this before, however, it does add a decent deal of pressure in combination with what we already have. The cooldown for the alarm is relatively slow, and now having 3 consistent problems we need to use it on, it could easily start to get out of hand fast. Not to mention having another door character which could prevent us from turning around to check on Morris. This game can get stressful, but I honestly think that's one of the most enjoyable parts about it.
Clocking out? Okay. Have a good night then. Hey, Lonnie, mind if I talk to you about something?
Oh, of course. I was just about to finish up here. What's on your mind?
So, I've been going over the company's financial statements to help allocate the budget for next year. I noticed that some of our bank capital's been withdrawn and donated to a couple of undisclosed recipients. They've been blocked out. You wouldn't happen to know anything about this, would you? Okay, if you don't know anything about it, I'll just go ask Cynthia.
You won't get anything of value out of her. I made those withdrawals.
Alright, that's fine, but let me know next time. Given how much was spent, I don't have enough money left to fund my R&D for the new mascots next year. We need to focus on improving the restaurant before doing anything like this, okay? Anyways, who were the recipients anyway? You're joking, Lonnie. Tell me you're joking.
Quite the opposite, I'm afraid.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And after all that shit about dedicating yourself to the betterment of the company, to promise a business that would never do anything to harm its audience again, you pulled this on me?
Look, calm down. I can explain.
No, you can't explain shit. You may put up a face to get them to tolerate you, but I'll be damned if you ever gave a shit about the kids. I'm the one working my ass off out there to cover for your mistakes.
I said calm down! Don't even start with me. Your pitiful self-righteousness is pathetic. Do you not remember the hole I dug you out of? You owe every part of this success to me. I made this company, and I made you! Don't try to push superiority onto me when you're the one who crawled to me, begging for my help all those years ago. What I do with my company's funds is none of your business. Do what is asked of you before I decide you're no longer needed.
Fine, you made your point.
Glad we came to an agreement. Be seeing you.
Whatever.
So, the brother Lonnie, who we heard in the Night 1 cutscene, has been spending company money on something shady. The exact contents have been redacted, but judging from Daryl's reaction, it's not good news. We also have a pretty big argument about money here. And if we're still rolling with my theory that Lonnie had something to do with Daryl's death, money is one of the most common reasons for murder. Again, not necessarily pointing any fingers, Okay, that's a lie. Yes, I am. There's no way in fuck Lonnie isn't the reason Daryl died, but I guess only time will tell. Night 4 introduces the main attraction himself, Cody. Really shitty name, by the way. The only Cody I like is this gay guy who wears a lot of blue and has some yellow ass teeth. Anyways, on to what Cody from the game does. Cody's main goal in this game is to absolutely rail your power supply. There are 2 cameras which have breaker boxes in them. They must be female because Cody really wants to break their boxes with his big fat patty whacker double-decker robo dig. When he's in either of these cameras, he'll have 2 phases. One where he's just kind of chilling there, and the other where he's having intercourse with said breaker box. When you see him doing his thing with his big fat patty whacker double-decker robo dick, use the alarm on his camera to scare him away. If you don't, obviously your power is going to disintegrate like the cells on my testicles when I accidentally place them on the stove. So, here we have yet another character that requires us to use the alarm system. Can you start to see how this game could become stressful? Especially considering that our alarm has a pretty long cooldown time in reference to the amount of characters that require its use. Yeah, it can become a bit much at times, but in all honesty, I never felt like this game was unfair. I never felt like there was even an inkling of RNG. This game is so fun. You guys really need to check it out, or check out my full playthrough over on my second channel, Dexter Black.
I'm done.
Just what is the meaning of this?
I can't keep covering your ass. I've just about had it. I've been trying to keep the magic alive for years at this point, but everything you've done has just thrown a wrench in every plan I've had. Every single time I was at the cusp of making something good for our audience, you've pulled the rug out from under my feet. Whatever, I know your heart was never really in it. Hell, we both know that neither of us would be here if it weren't for my mascots.
Do I need to remind you of the last time we've had this conversation?
No, because I've been thinking about what you said. Sure, you helped me out of a dark place, but I'm sure as goddamn hell you only ever did it to leech off my talent, knowing full well you couldn't produce a fraction of what we've accomplished here on your own.
Just get to the point. You're wasting my time.
I've had Cynthia pull our financial statements from the last 2 years. Don't even think about going after her when this is done, because she's made up her mind to leave long ago. I have the contacts of every news outlet in the state, ready to publish the uncensored documents at a moment's notice.
What? Are you dense? Don't you realize that this is gonna spell the end of you too?
I do. Besides, however this turns out sure as hell beats trying to steer a ship that's been sinking for years now. So I'm gonna give you 2 options. Walk away now and forsake your every stake in this company, or take the fall with me and lose everything anyway.
You belligerent, unthinking fool! You really haven't changed at all, have you? Still the over-emotional disaster of a child you've been since we were kids. God, it's no wonder Mom and Dad gave up on you so damn easily. You know what? Do your worst. You won't get anything out of me.
Then I guess you made your choice.
God damn it, Doria, get back here! This isn't something you just decide!
I've told you, my name is Daryl. Goodbye, Lonnie.
No. No, this can't be happening. Why are you making me do this?
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Well. Looky what we have here. Exactly as I suspected. Lonnie killed his brother. Sure, Daryl was gonna bring the entire company to its knees, but to be fair, it was entirely Lonnie's fault. I also want to use this cutscene to bring up a problem I have with some FNAF fan games. Voice acting can really make or break an impactful scene in a game. You really need to be able to get an actor or actress who can really bring that energy that the role needs to tell its story. Lonnie's voice acting is bad, and it really shows in this Night 4 cutscene. From the mumbling, making it hard to understand what he's saying if it wasn't for the subtitles, to the actor not really yelling during a scene where he needs to be yelling, it makes this scene, which is supposed to be impactful and shocking, just feel very awkward and uncomfortable. Not every game needs voice acting either. If you're a dev working on a FNAF game, or any game for that matter, and you just can't quite find an actor or actress that can fit your role with the vision you had in your head, I honestly think it's much better to just leave the voicing up to the player, rather than using an actor or actress that is going to make your scenes feel like they came out of Garden of Banban, a game series with notoriously horrendous voice acting. Anyways, moving on to Night 5. It introduces nothing new and just serves as a more difficult version of Night 4, so there's obviously not a whole lot to talk about here. However, what we can talk about is the post-Night 5 cutscene.
Hello? Oh, hello? Lonnie, what is this? Get me the hell out of here.
No. They can't know. God. Why are you making me do this?
Wait, what? Lonnie, what the hell are you thinking of doing?
Please. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Lonnie, please, no. Listen, don't do this. I'm your brother!
You made me do this! They can't know. No one can know.
Please, Lonnie! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! I don't want to die!
Now, no one will know. I'm sorry, Daryl.
So, Daryl was killed via the Flex clown suit, this game's Springlocks. It's not often you see someone other than the villain in a FNAF game fall to one of these traps. I was definitely shocked when I first saw this, and you can see my reaction to it over on my second channel, Dexter Black. Truly one of the most brutal death scenes I've ever seen come out of a FNAF game, except this time around, it didn't happen to someone we wanted it to happen to. Night 6 introduces this game's final 2 threats, and one of them is obviously the clown, Klaus, acting as this game's boss fight night. Klaus acts as every character we've seen so far, and that includes the anomaly. Klaus can attack both of your doors, can try to break your breaker boxes with his big fat patty whacker double-decker robo dick, and is the anomaly you have to find. Namely, if his eyes are glowing, that's how you know to play the alarm. Do this 10 times and the night is over. But what about Morris? It's stated in the phone call that Klaus destroyed all of the animatronics. What about a Morris mechanic? Well, Morris is replaced by this night's second new threat, Shadow Cody, who is a much faster version of Morris. If you thought you had to check on Morris a lot, you have to check on Shadow Cody a fuck ton more. This night is intense. Klaus is fast. He will be moving around your cameras, attacking you very quickly. And in addition to the incredibly aggressive Shadow Cody, it really serves to test the limits of your skills and your timings, easily being one of my favorite nights in this entire game, and being one of, if not my favorite boss fight night in any FNAF game I've ever played.
We're going to do wonderful things.
Before Beth can leave the building, she's caught by Klaus, and is never seen by another human being ever again. A local who goes by the name Bethany Hasters has been reported missing as of Sunday 5 a.m. Last seen at Cody & Co.'s Game & Grub Authorities have been searching the vicinity and its surrounding forest areas to deduct what could have occurred. There is no current suspicion of foul play, but a manhunt will be conducted within the week. Authorities state to have found her place of work in disarray, sparking suspicions of the suspect being inebriated or the like. In addition to this, the robot entertainers of the restaurant were found completely disassembled and damaged beyond repair. The company has yet to release a statement, but the resigning CEO has spoken with authorities and announces that the robots will be sent for repair at one of the company's sister facilities. This story is depraved, and trust me, there's a lot that goes into it. Long before the game takes place, Cody & Co.'s Game & Grub was meant to be a second chance, a reopening of a restaurant that had already failed once before, revived under the guidance of Warren Technology. On the surface, it was nothing special. A modest, arcade-style diner built around animatronic mascots, struggling to stay relevant in a world that had already moved on. But beneath that fragile revival was something unstable, something unfinished, quietly embedded into the building's systems. That presence became known as the anomaly. Employees noticed it first. Small things at the beginning, strange glitches in the animatronics' behaviors, systems responding without being touched, errors appearing where none should exist. Management acknowledged it, but only as a technical problem, something to be observed, something to be measured, not something to be feared. By the time Bethany Hasters was hired as the night guard, the anomaly was already spreading. Bethany's job was simple on paper: work the overnight shift, monitor the building, and collect data on the anomaly's activity. Her first night begins on November 9th, 1997, and at first, the restaurant almost feels dormant, quiet, empty. But that stillness doesn't last long, because each night, the anomaly grows more aggressive, and it chooses its host one by one. The first animatronic to fall under its influence is Bella the Beaver. Once a friendly mascot, Bella becomes erratic, hostile, and unpredictable, her movements no longer matching her original programming. The following night, Morris the Mouse is corrupted as well, then Jack the Jackal. Each evening, another animatronic loses control, as if something is slowly rewriting them from the inside. All the while, the anomaly watches Bethany. By Thursday night, even Cody, the face of the restaurant itself, is no longer safe. His corruption marks a turning point. The anomaly has nearly overtaken the entire system. Whatever restraint once existed is gone, and by Friday, the restaurant's original code is on the brink of a total collapse. Behind all of this is Warren Technology, and more specifically, the company's founders, Daryl and Lonnie Warren. Years earlier, Daryl had been responsible for developing advanced animatronic technology, including a dangerous experimental suit known as the Flex suit. At some point, Daryl was betrayed and trapped inside that suit. Whether intentional or negligent, the result was the same. Daryl never escaped, and what remained of him became something else entirely: the anomaly. On Friday night, Lonnie Warren lies about a meeting, betrays another employee, and secretly releases what remains of Daryl from backstage confinement. By Saturday, the animatronics have been dismantled, but the threat hasn't ended. The anomaly has a body now, a form known as Klaus, and it is no longer bound to systems or code. It hunts Bethany directly. Saturday night becomes less about surviving malfunctioning machines and more about avoiding a conscious entity moving freely through the building. And if that wasn't enough, another presence emerges: Shadow Cody, a dark manifestation tied to the restaurant's collapse, appearing as an additional threat. In the end, Bethany doesn't escape. She's caught by Klaus and taken away, her fate left deliberately unclear. In the final cutscene, Daryl, still trapped within Klaus, offers her a gift, hinting that her story isn't over, and that whatever comes next will involve choice, consequence, and continuation. And that's where After Hours at Cody's leaves us. A restaurant reopened too late, a company that tried to bury its mistakes, and a presence that was never just a glitch, but the remains of someone who was never allowed to leave. But that's not where After Hours at Cody's comes to a close. Not quite yet. We still have something very interesting to talk about. If you go to the custom night menu after completing the final night, you will see a small chest icon in the bottom corner. Clicking on it will bring you to a FNAF 4 styled lock box with 2 padlocks. And rest assured, we can get the keys. The first key is locked behind 520 mode. If there's anything you guys know about me, it's that I'm absolutely terrible at Five Nights at Freddy's games. But you want to hear something crazy? I was actually able to beat this max mode, and I even did it on my first try. I would usually never even give a max mode a try, and at the time of playing it, I didn't know that beating it would give me a key. Does that let me unlock one of the boxes? Oh my god, it did! So the fact that I played it and beat it goes to show just how much I enjoyed this game, and I really think you guys will too. But what about the second key? Well, you get it by completing this game's second max mode, 220 mode with Klaus and Shadow Cody, which yes, I also beat, and yes, I also beat on my first try. I don't think this game is necessarily very difficult by any means, but I am still very proud of myself for actually doing it. And watching me play it over on my second channel, dxtrwhite, makes me look like I'm a lot better at these types of games than I really am. After completing both max modes, we can take the keys and unlock the box to find a very menacing looking character whose eyes turn on. A teaser for what will undoubtedly be a second game, and I believe that this character we see here is Bethany. But only time will tell. One last thing I want to talk about is something you can find in the extras menu. If you scroll through the characters until you find Klaus and hover over his face, you will see what I believe to be the rotting, decompiling corpse of Daryl. Truly one of the most disturbing images I've ever seen in a FNAF game. And with that, that's all After Hours at Cody's has to offer. Overall, I think this game is easily one of the most unique, interesting, and fun FNAF games I've ever played. Right up there with how much fun I had playing Juniors. After Hours at Cody's really is a super fun experience with a gruesome, easy to follow story, and I highly recommend you give it a try. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm just glazing this game because I was able to beat it? Let me know in the comments below. In my Remnants of Tubbyland video, I asked you guys what your favorite horror game from 2025 was, and my favorite answer was this one by Skeletons. They said, "No, I'm Not Human," and I totally agree. I absolutely loved that game, and you can see my full playthrough of it over on my third channel, Dexter Gray, which a lot of people don't even know exists. The question of this video is, what upcoming FNAF game are you looking forward to this year in 2026? With the question of the video being asked, subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it a lot. Thank you to all of my superfan channel members, you guys guzzle chug jugs of Riz sauce. I've been Dexter, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!